your love of wrestling, how did it start? What's so great about it? Like as a viewer, as a consumer, as an athlete in the ring yourself?
I mean, you've hit it down the head, really. Like, even when I got into my acting, my agent said to me, when I got an agent, she said, do you want any theatre work? And I was like, I've got that wrapped up. That's wrestling, right? If I'm going to do theatre work, put me in a ring, man. You know what I mean? Let me do that kind of thing. It really was, in terms of how I got into it was completely random. My dad worked in TV. So when Sky became a thing, he had to have Sky to do his job. So his company, bought him Sky. So one day we came home, we're like, what do you mean we've got like 100 channels? We freaked out. We're kids. We're like, this is nuts. I was so young as well. And then one day I'm flicking the channels and I just saw Bret Hart. Couldn't tell you who he was facing. Couldn't tell you what he was doing. I remember he applied the sharpshooter. I think it was two things. One, I'm sure I saw a promo. I probably saw a big slam. I was like, that's cool.
So this is Wrestling Geek. I watched a video on Bret Hart the other day on YouTube saying that he stole that from Sting.
Yeah, he did. Sting had it first. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he had it first. I thought this whole time Sting stole it from him. being Bret Hart, the best technical wrestler on the planet. I thought he was the one that really played that bulk. Even now, as a 27-year-old man, I'm learning stuff, but it's just crazy, yeah. And it really baffled me. I was like, I'm doing the old. You can't. If you watch it on YouTube, you can see what I'm doing. If you can't watch it on YouTube, I'm scratching my head. Did they all scratch anything? Really? Bret Hart stole from Sting?
Bret will tell you they put it on differently. I mean, they really don't, but that's what Bret Hart will tell you. But I in recent years, I've realized, I think one of the reasons I was so drawn to Bret Hart is because it's all changed now, which I think is a good thing. No one talks about this enough. He was wearing pink, right? He was a pink and black attack. And as a kid, I think I was like, wait a minute, boys don't wear pink, because that's what we were taught, right? Girls are pink, girls are blue. And I think there was something so fascinating to that to me. That was another little thing where I was like, well, what is this? And I was literally hooked instantly. I think that's more of a me thing. Again, I went to the gym, hooked instantly. First time I heard Metallica, I'm a massive Metallica geek, hooked instantly. Same with Batman, wrestling, all this stuff. And I watched it religiously as a kid. I got banned from it religiously as a kid because I would try and DDT people all of the time. So, I had all of this thing.
DDT is the one. Any wrestling fans, it looks easy. Goodness me, do it wrong, you're going to kill somebody. You grab him, if I get their head under, like let's say I'm facing Simon, I kick him in the gut, he bends over in front of me, I grab his head under my left arm, then you sit back. If anyone remembers Jake the Snake Roberts, DDT, called it DDT because that was snake poison, wasn't it, back in the day? And I've lived with Jake Roberts. He's a crazy. I've lived with him for months. He's a crazy man. Lovely, lovely guy. So wise. And then you drop back, like you land on the top of their head. So in real life, it will kill you and put you in a coma if you don't learn to do it properly. So Simon running around as an 8-year-old giving people DDPs, probably not the wisest thing to do.
It's not good. But I always got back in the game. I used to have it recorded, and then my dad would walk in, I'd push stop. He knew what was going on. But sometimes I'd push stop and there'd be like some political show on. What, you're watching politics at 7, are you? Yeah, I am. And, when I went to university, it was just so hard to watch, right? It wasn't the world we live in today where it was so accessible. So I fell out of it then. But as soon as I got back out of it, I fell back into it. And that was it. Absolutely hooked for life. And from there, it's always been this thing, I just am. It just is. Do you know what I mean? And the fact now, I mean, it's like wrestling has thrown up on me. I mean, I couldn't be more involved if I tried. I don't know if that was ever the plan, but I'm super happy it has gone that way. And that's kind of how it kind of ties into the YouTube stuff too, because I was doing video game YouTube stuff for ages. And then I was like, well, if I can do it for games, why do I do it for wrestling? Because I love games, but man, I'm passionate about wrestling. And yeah, so it's always kind of been one of those things that were there. And I think because I am so passionate about it, again, something like YouTube, you can really resonate that through the screen and people go, oh, wow, he really cares about this. And, it was just going to all the events. And then I remember the first time Raw came over here, that was like, Raw is coming to Earl's Court in London. It's like, well, we got to go to that. And yeah, now I can't even imagine my life without it. It's just everything you said. I love the charisma. I love the over-the-top characters. As a kid, I loved the physique. The physiques, that was a massive inspiration to me. I love the moves. I love the fact that you can totally suspend your disbelief and pretend that somebody has just picked up a 20 stone man in the air and dropped him without any cooperation. I think that's the most wonderful thing ever. And I am a big proponent for the goofy side of wrestling. I just love the idea. Again, let's say it's a normal singles match. All you ever have to do is have one competitor, another competitor, and obviously the booker, the promoter, the person that decides what's going to happen. And as long as all those three individuals agree, you can go out there and do whatever you want. Do you know what I mean? It's a complete blank canvas. And I think that is so cool. And it's rare in any walk of life to be able to but you can do anything. You can say, should we go out there and have a game of chess, and then I'll beat you in the face and pin you? Yep, could do that. You know,
should we go? Would be into it, and weirdly, fans would be like, "This is interesting. Oh, go on, checkmate, checkmate." The fans will get into it. You know, if you're telling compelling stories, as long as it makes sense to a degree, the fans will be into it, and you'll make people happy and smile. And for those that don't get it, for those that sneer their nose, it annoys me. I've got friends that kind of sneer their nose up, right? And they go, "Oh, it's cool now, but it's not real." And it's like, but I love James Bond. I mentioned James Bond a minute ago. He's my favourite fictional person that he's ever lived. Didn't obviously live, but lived through the art of pen to paper or type to typewriter. I love Bond, but that's not real, right? Like Daniel Craig isn't doing that stuff. That's Cameron. What we do is real. It's our bodies. My back is sore right now. My legs are in a weird position because I take so many bumps and this, and you'll do the same. Like it's compelling. It's a compelling story. And we all like stories from getting told bedtime stories by our parents when we're little, to going to the cinema to watch the next latest $500 million blockbuster. Like, it's just a story, and it's fun, and and
you know what else it is as well? I think it's accepting to all type of people. It really, really is. The weirdest people I know are in professional wrestling, and I count myself as one of them. I think in many ways it's a crew of misfits that kind of find themselves in this traveling circus.
Why is that?
That's a great question. I don't think it ever be answered
because wrestling attracts. I can't think of a better word other than misfit. A bunch of misfits, and I'm a misfit. I'm in it. I'm right in the middle, and I'm not saying. But wonder why people are so eccentric. Like if you look at some of the things that we wear, right? It's like we douse ourselves with baby oil. Or baby oil gel because baby oil makes you too slippy, or hot stuff, and it's bonkers. That's why I find it so hard to describe what it is that we do. By the way, Simon, you're the first wrestler on this podcast.
I'll take that, my friend. I'll absolutely take that.
I was, and Jim will take even more now. I was reserving that first wrestler spot for Diamond Dallas Page, 3-time WCW heavyweight champion of the world, and you've just usurped him. So he'll be pissed. He'll be pissed. Really though.
He's the most positive man ever. I think he'll find a way to spin it in his head.
Very true. Very, very true.
I did an hour of DDP yoga in his hotel room at a wrestling convention for a YouTube video, and he's the nicest man ever. The nicest man. What a flipping dude that guy is.
He's like, I always struggle to describe Dallas because he's like, we went to his 65th birthday a couple of years ago.
That's mad.
By the way, he's a joke, mate. He'd break in half 80% of the men on the planet in 67.
Absolutely.
But he wouldn't. He's the nicest person in the world. But he's an absolute freak. I'm going to come on to Dallas in a minute because that's going to segue into our next final point. And already we haven't spoken much wrestling today, and I like holding this back because what you're known for is the wrestling, and there's loads of cool stories we can tell in wrestling in the YouTube. Want to learn about how much money you make and how, like, what do you define success as a YouTuber, as a wrestler? And I don't think that's fitting for right now. Reason being, your story is so wonderful in itself. Like, this has been about you, Simon Miller, with a great story, and you spoke so openly about your anxiety struggles and stuff. And I want to keep this is you. And then if you'd have me, I'd love to jump on again in the future and talk wrestling and be like,
oh, hell yeah, dude. 100%.
For the wrestling misfits like me and you and all the other ones out there in the world to kind of really going to get their teeth stuck into. But I just like how I want people to listen to this because you're adored by so many wrestling fans around the world from what you do. And I always think it's nice to look at, like I didn't do with wrestling. I never looked beyond the curtain. I saw what I saw. I think what you do is nice to see behind that curtain and see why you are the way you are. And if it's cool, yeah, I'd like to come back again, maybe, and do a wrestling podcast. Just wrestling stuff. I'd love that.
Just day in the day, man. I'll be there.
Perfect.
Absolutely. Done and done.
With Dallas, I was describing how Dallas, I find him hard to like. Went to his birthday party. We were both a little bit tipsy. He went through a phase where he used to drink loads of red wine. Like, I used to live at his house with him for months, and he bought stacks and stacks and boxes of red wine. And me and his daughter Brittany, took a pint of red wine before bed. Had too many of those 2 months, but he said to me, bro, he said, I love you, bro, love you. Everyone's bro. Well, I'm always bro. Hey, bro, love you, bro. And I said to him the other day, my ADHD brain is going mad, but now, by the way, as you can tell, I'm talking so fast. He goes, to Dallas, I went, how come all the wrestlers back in like the 80s and 90s, all like the wrestlers, like you, Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, Jake, Austin, even The Rock. I said, you all have really cool voices. I said to him, I go, did you have voice class where you practice your voices? Because like nowadays, everyone's got their own voice. Back then, listen, when Dusty Rhodes, you haven't even got to be a wrestling fan. Never watch a Dusty Rhodes match. You hear Dusty talk. If you know wrestling, that's Dusty Rhodes. If you don't know him, that's that big blonde guy that talks weird, but he's a wrestler. Ric Flair needs no introduction. Ric Flair, and the reason why I said this is because I met Ric Flair for the first time in LA a few months ago in November for an AEW show, and I was in the really busy bar at the Hilton in LA, really, really busy bar. He's at the bar holding court, and I heard a voice, and I went to my mate and went, that's Ric Flair. I had to kind of get through about 80 people just to see him, but his voice is so unique, it carries. And I see him, and then my eyes hurt because he's wearing the most garish suit known to man that he wears on a day to day. But yeah, voices are so cool. Anyway, I digress. Dad said to me, hey bro, you're like a brother to me, bro. And I was like, you're 30 odd years older than me. We can't even be, maybe you're like, you're not like my dad. I'm not a dad, it's a weird thing to say, but like, he's like
just an uncle.
He's like my favourite uncle. I hope you've enjoyed, man. I really enjoyed this. I hope everyone listening to this, I hope you've enjoyed it. Also, we've had a surge in listeners the last few weeks, and I want to thank everybody who comes here and listens. These they're not really positive. They're conversations with people, like-minded people that want to put some good into the world. Thank you for listening. I urge you all to subscribe and share it. If you think somebody could benefit from mine and Simon's conversation, please share it to them, whether they're a wrestling fan or not. And yeah, hopefully the Getting Back Up podcast will continue to grow. And Simon Miller, sir, you are marvellous. Thank you so, so much, young man.
No, genuine, man. Thanks for having me on. I really enjoyed this. And just keep smashing it, dude. It's awesome.